A lot of people are eagerly excited waiting for news of Season 10 with New World. When is it going to arrive? When are we going to get information? And importantly, is it free or is it paid? I'm now a believer that it's actually going to be a huge free update, and I'm going to show you and explain why. So there's a lot to talk about, but let's get the important bit out of the way. Why I think it's going to be free. So I've got the streamer mode on, so let me just enable that or disable that. I guess that's the normal way of saying that. New World K is KE, Dev KE, KE Kishiznik. I'm not 100% sure you say her last name. And I guess actually initially this relates to when you're going to get news. It says, no, it's along our normal timelines for a season update. Hence the question is, why are the comms so late? And they say the comms are going to be a little bit different, but the timing is about normal. Now you might be wondering what that timing is. That timing typically is actually around about 3 weeks before the season. I think season 9 was 3 weeks before, season 8 was 3 weeks before. If we go with the new release date of being October 14th, because that's what the in-game season is actually suggesting, then that would put it as around about September 23rd. However, I think it might actually be around about the 16th or the week commencing the 15th. The reason for that is that there's some of the content creators, and I'm not going to get them in trouble, but perhaps they have a box to open on the 21st. By the way, I have no box. They've not contacted me, so I'm not breaking any NDA or anything like that. Sad to miss out, but it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, that's happening on the 23rd, so I'm a believer of the week commencing the 15th. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off the point. The reason why I think it's free is because somebody then says this. So Season 10 is an expansion like Rise of the Angry Earth, or more like Brimstone Sands update. And there's two reactions, both from KE. One of them which is literally a desert, and another one which is a horse or horse racing. Now you might be like, Jay, that says absolutely nothing. What are you doing? But I believe that the desert obviously relates to Brimstone Sands, and the racing you might think is a little bit of a spanner in the works, but not really, because there's some data mines suggesting that we're going to be getting a new mount, the Fox. There's also another data mine of the Grunt, but I'm sort of assuming that might not be real, or if it is real, maybe we get both. I'm not sure. But to me, that sounds like she's not confirming, let's be honest. There's enough like room for, hey, this doesn't mean anything. But to me, that very much sounds like it's a Brimstone level update. It's a Brimstone update as opposed to a Rise of the Angry Earth update. I don't know what she would have put to suggest it would have been a Rise of the Angry Earth update. I don't know what would have been out there. Maybe like a tree or something. But that for me is kind of like the first real indication that it might be free on an official level. I have seen some of the content creators suggest that it would be free, and maybe they are in the know and maybe they're not. But this is the first like official kind of like, okay, maybe it actually is free. And now somebody will be like, well, of course it's free. It doesn't mention expansion on the roadmap. It just says season 10. There's a lot of reasons to think it might be free, a lot of reasons to think it might be paid. I've said before, whatever you thought, you weren't wrong in thinking that. We just didn't actually have any real evidence either way. The reason for it being paid is simply they want money, and they want the money from it being paid. The reason for it being free is perhaps a little bit more complex. Let me just jump to some in-game footage and then we'll talk there. The big reason that it's probably free, or the big reason that it would be free, I believe, is simply because they want to do something very similar to Brimstone, but for the console player base. So if you don't know, New World launched in 2021, actually September 28th, 2021. And then on the 18th of October, I think, in 2022, we got the Brimstone update. Brimstone was a new zone, not a level increase and not a gear score increase. A lot of people think that actually was then, but it wasn't. We did get Heart Runes and the Great Sword and the Ennead, but it was a new zone and it was a big free update. Now, why was that free? Was it free as a kind of like, we screwed the pooch at the launch, so he have a free update? Or was it always planned to be free? Honestly, we actually still don't know. A year later though, we did get Rise of the Angry Earth, which was a paid update. Rise of the Angry Earth, I think, launched on October 3rd. And I thought from that point on, we'd get into a cycle of having paid expansions. Then there was a little bit of a spanner in the works, wasn't there, with New World Eternum. Technically free if you're on PC, obviously paid if you're on console. I believe New World Eternum launched on October 15th, 2024. Don't quote me on these dates though. Anyway, the theory is that what they're doing is doing the equivalent for console what they did for PC. Maybe that was always intended. But for me, if they do a free update, there's some bigger questions here, and it's more about like the macro play of Amazon and the macro play of what they want New World to be. Quite frankly, I don't believe that New World's microtransactions has been very good, and I would be surprised to see a free update purely because I don't think they will make it back effectively. I understand the logic, sell a lot of units or get a lot of players in, not really selling a lot of units, get a lot of players in and then milk a little bit with microtransactions. Now a new dazzling Fox mount could definitely make a little bit of money, let's say that, but is that enough? Like that and the season pass, is that enough? A lot of people aren't even buying the season pass at the minute because there's not much point. So I've always been of the opinion that's probably not enough. What Katie just said in Discord, kind of suggesting it is enough, you know what I mean? There's an alternative there as well though, which could be that actually New World is a different positional product for Amazon than just a normal game that has to make a lot of money. Now, what do I mean by that? Why are New World even in the gaming industry? They're here to be involved. I don't necessarily know if they're here to make mega money. Amazon Game Studios is probably like less than 1% of the entire budget of Amazon. And the purpose for being in the gaming industry, as I said, is probably not just to make immediate money. That's not to say they want to like run at a massive loss, but I think sometimes they actually are just here for the experience. That sounds a little bit weird, right? They're just in it for the experience, but they're here to be here in case the dynamics of the economy change. Like maybe they're going to use them to use AI or something in the future. I'm not saying they're doing that, but you know what I mean? Maybe that's part of the reason. I mean, to be fair, maybe they are actually trying to make money. New World sold a lot of copies at launch. The console apparently did well. Rise of the Angry Earth did relatively well in terms of what we're led to believe. And maybe they are in it for the money, but I just look at the microtransactions and I think, no. I don't think we're going to see any massive monetary financial changes in the way that the game is monetized. The fact that the game went sort of on the PlayStation Plus Pass thing, it's not actually the default level of PlayStation, it's the one above. I don't think they would be giving the game away free. So I think this is actually just going to be a free update and trying to sell you microtransactions, which is kind of right now blowing my mind. I think personally it's a little bit too early for them to want like positive sentiment moving into Lord of the Rings. We all know Amazon Games, the exact same studio in Irvine, probably headed by Scott Lane, is making Lord of the Rings. I think it's too early for Amazon Games to be like, right, we need everybody to feel happy about New World because Lord of the Rings is coming out sometime soon. Lord of the Rings is probably a minimum of 5 years away and probably longer than that. And I don't think we're seeing a trailer anytime soon in the next couple of years, but maybe I'll be wrong there. So I'm kind of like shocked in a way. If the update is going to be free, like that's huge, right? A lot of people are going to be very happy about it. But for me, it confuses me more than makes me happy. Sure, it'd be great to have a free update with massive content level increase, etc., gear score increase. But I mean, yeah, my head's sort of struggling to understand why they're doing that. Because let's be honest, they're a business. Everything they do is designed to make money. It's not going to be altruistic. It's for cold hard cash. It just might not be for cold hard cash right now. Maybe it's because they want to be in the industry. Maybe it's because they've made money and they're going to sell the microtransactions and they're actually going to make money like that. Or maybe it is because of Lord of the Rings. I don't know, to be honest. I think at this stage, there's a lot more people than before Rise of the Angry Earth saying, I would not buy an expansion. So maybe they think people wouldn't buy it either. But I mean, a lot of people said that before Rise of the Angry Earth and still bought it. I think a lot of people would do that now. But either way, like the hints are here. Free is looking good, and news is a little bit far away. It's like 2 weeks away, pretty much, a week and a half minimum, which is a bit of a yikes. But yeah, I think this is some really big stuff happening. But at the minute, I can't quite put my finger on exactly why it's happening, which confuses me. Delights, but confuses. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm a little bit over the speculation of Season 10. I kind of just want the information, but I get it. They don't want to do that for whatever reason. But yeah, free update. What would that mean to you? Is that going to be enough? I mean, are you going to come back and buy the season pass and be the exact product that, you know, Amazon want from you? You're going to come and be a big spender. Season 11, probably in December or maybe January as well, to get you even more enticed with those daggers. Poo poo poo. It's not poo poo poo. I don't know why I did that. Stabby, stabby, stab, stab. Yeah. Let me know. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.